Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the SOM TV podcast. My name is Jason Wise. Thanks for joining us. On today's episode, I am going to have Rodolphe Lameyse. He is the head of Vinexpo, Vinexposium. This is one of the largest wine events of the entire year. Wine professionals and people in the business really look forward to this, and it's taking place May 7th through 8th. So I wanted to have the head of Vinexposium come on and talk to us about what goes into putting on an event of this size. It is just monstrous. And of course, unfortunately, we have to talk a little bit about the on-again, off-again threat of tariffs and things and how that affects the entire global wine market, but also doing an event like this where you have people coming from Europe, people coming from South America, people coming from all over the place to descend on Miami May 7th through 8th. So it's an interesting time right now to do something like this. So he's going to come on and talk through all of that. And if you're a beverage professional, if you're in the wine and food business, and you're listening to this podcast, you get a free badge to this event. If you're anywhere near Miami, you need to go. This is the premier event uniting the global beverage industry, May 7th and 8th at the Miami Beach Convention Center for 2 days. Unparalleled networking, insightful conferences, exclusive tastings, wines, spirits, beers, and all the no and low alcohol beverages that are hot right now. Explore all the trends, connect with the top producers from around the world, and elevate your business. There's a lot of people you can talk to that are trying to do exactly what you're doing. They have solutions. Don't miss this opportunity to be part of the industry's most anticipated gathering. Register at vinexpo-america.com and put in VA America 25. SOM TV listeners put in VA America 25, Vamerica 25, and you get a free badge. It's a complimentary badge. I'm going to put the link in the show notes too. Without further ado, my conversation with the head of Vinexposium, Vinexpo America, Rodolphe Lameyse. Rod, it's great to have you on the podcast. Really appreciate your time. I know you're insanely busy. We've never really talked about what goes into an event like what you're about to try to pull off here. I want to take our listeners you say, into the kitchen of one of the biggest wine trade events in the country as part of one of the biggest in the world. So how in the world do we start talking about this event and how you put it on?
Yes, thank you, Jason, for your question. And I think it's common that people just only see the event as a 3 days or 2 days gathering of people in one location, and it seems so obvious for most of us. But actually, what you have to consider is organizing an event like Vinexpo America, or we organize 7 events worldwide, Paris, in Asia, etc. It takes us between 12 and 15 months beforehand to prepare this kind of event. First of all, you need to find a location. You need to get the date at the right time, at the right venue for you to organize. So it takes a bit of a visionary approach when you think about Vinexpo America. Before, we used to be in New York for 5 years. Now we decided to move to Miami, and it was quite a big change for us. Not only we are talking about venue, but we're also talking about suppliers, the people we are used to work with. So it's not that obvious. And US being US, and the 3-tier system being the 3-tier system, it's almost when you start again from scratch, when you move from one city like New York to Miami. So fortunately, we are very experienced in organizing events. We are very structured. So for instance, I have a team which is in charge of operation. So this team has people in the US which they used to work with. They know them very well, and they are knowing the nitty-gritties and the little details about organizing an event. So they are flying to US 3-4 times a year in order to meet with the partners. So this is one element. The second element, obviously, is the sales side. So we are having our network of clients which are following us wherever we are going in Paris or in Hong Kong, in Singapore. And they know that when we come together with the brand Vinexpo in a country, usually it means that it's a qualitative event. It's a very high-end professional. Our events are only open to trade, which is the specificity of Vinexpo. And there will be a combination of elements. Not only we are connecting people, not only we are creating opportunities of business development, but we are also creating opportunities of knowledge sharing, networking together, which is very, very important. And we might talk about that later. But in a period where you have lots of difficulties to foresee what's going to be the activity in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, based upon many decisions that can happen, if you see what I mean, then gathering and speaking to each other face to face is the most important. And I think this is what the marketing team from Vinexpo is very strong in doing. It's gathering the right people together, making understand that who is who in the neighborhood of Miami, but broader than Miami itself, and what are the key topics that are absolutely compelling for the industry, and who are the best people to speak about those topics. So it takes 12, 15 months, as I said. It's a daily job. Be aware of any issues that we can face from the organizational standpoint, the usual stuff, up to D-Day when you open the carpet and you raise the curtain to the people attending the show. So it's an ongoing process. But if you are keen in getting an image of what is an event organizer nowadays, it's like, I consider that it's like building a circus. So you create the circus 3-4 days, you build the circus, you have the show happening, and then once the show is over, you dismantle the circus and you go to another date, another place. And this is what we do. This is our business. And this is where I'm very excited also to come to Miami as a first time ever for our brand.
Yeah, I find, at least at the circus, you kind of know how lions are going to behave. You're not sure, I'm sure, how some of these people are going to behave.
No, absolutely. But we have enough materials to soften the lions with good wines and good spirits.
That's fair.
And this is the most important.
That does help. I want to go back to something you said earlier about the 3-tier system. Look, you and I are in a bit, we're going to speak about kind of what's going on, I guess, politically with wine and the state of the wine world and things like that. Nobody is plugged in more than you. I can only imagine when you start planning an event 12 months in advance and, the things that can change along the way that can throw, I don't know what the term in French would be, but we say curveballs at you that you have to hit. So what you said about the 3-tier system, it's basically like starting over. So you have this event in New York, then you move to Miami. What are the challenges in moving such an enormous undertaking to another state in regards to the 3-tier system? Like, as an outsider, as somebody who's French, this has got to infuriate you.
It takes a bit of a while to understand really what is the system and why we are separated in 3 tiers actually. But once you understand that it's based about history and it's a legacy, so it's easier. I think definitely we built for 5 years a network of connection around the New York State and the neighboring states in America. It was quite of a challenge for us to really develop the business there. But more than a challenge, I think it's an opportunity that I saw in changing the location of the event. First of all, for most of our clients, attending an event in the US, they are always in the search of new exporters and new market opportunities. So once they got 1-2 distributors in different states, for them, it's mission accomplished. So they are not always coming back. So I think it was an opportunity for me to rejuvenate the event in America in order to change location. But also talking about opportunities, I had this gut feel that heading south compared to New York was an opportunity to reach an additional level of business opportunities, which are, for me, the travel retail. With so many crews leaving from Miami, it's really interesting, and they are really high level purchaser in terms of wine and spirits, and some of them are actually duty free. So it's quite important, and it's also an opportunity for us to address the South American buyers. Coming from Brazil, which is a very trendy country at the moment, fast-growing country. But also Argentina and Chile are also interested to really find opportunities there. So I consider that Miami is a strategic location without forgetting about this very strong HoReCa business surrounding Miami. So it was checking different boxes: strong growth, travel retail, geographic expansion. So for me, Miami checked the crossroad that I'm looking for in different approach.
I want to remind people, if you are near Miami and you are in this wine, beverage, spirits trade, May 7th, 8th, you have to go to this. It's just an incredible networking, education. You get to taste things that you would never have been able to taste, or things you never didn't know existed. Tell people what they get to, what this is about. Like, what is the purpose of this event?
Let's start with figures. I think it's quite compelling. So basically, you have just below 300 different exhibitors coming from 40 countries. So let's consider that each exhibitor is coming with between 5 to 10 labels. So it's quite a lot of wine to taste. And this is why we do expect 3,000 visitors, trade buyers coming to the show. So it's really important. So you will see obviously the French, the Italian, but you will see Georgian wines, Moldovan, of course a little bit of American wine. We would like to have more American wine actually, but it seems that it's more an import business from the buyer standpoint. And but as you rightfully mentioned, it's also an incredible opportunity to learn about the latest business trends. For sure, we have a couple of master classes and panel discussion dedicated to that. Learn about a new millésime, for instance, from Bordeaux, and but also it's such an important opportunity to network with your peers, and especially now that we are a bit in a stormy period, I think getting to connect to each other is highly valuable. Why I'm saying so is I think the wine and spirit community, generally speaking, with this threat, is a bit under attack. And being under attack, we are defenseless towards any decision. And it can be really damageful if the 200% tariff is really applied. It will really destroy the whole value in the value chain of the wine and spirit. So being together is an opportunity to reassure ourselves about what are the lobby opportunities that we have, what are the possible solutions we consider, and it's better to do it together rather to do it separately in each different location and think lonely about what are my options there.
Yeah, it's kind of like, one fish versus a school of fish, together. There is nobody plugged in to, I can speak to a champagne maker in Champagne. I can speak to someone in the Southern Rhone who is blending Syrah and say, what is this going to do to your business? But you are plugged in at multi-levels around the entire world on what people are talking about. And I don't want to make this podcast political, but it's kind of like just to you have to speak about what is the wine business feeling right now, not the wine maker, not the wine drinker. What's going on?
I will tell you the first feeling that the wine business worldwide, and we are not talking about political because this is nonsense for us at the moment, but the wine community is thinking the word that I hear is unfair. This is unfair. We are taken hostage in a dispute which are not our disputes. It started with a tariff on one camp and a reply on the other camps about aluminium, and then suddenly we are in this middle of the war. But just to ease the discussion, it's not a US versus the rest of the world discussion. Not so long ago, and it's still open actually, we are having a dispute between China and Europe about subsidies on electric cars. And as a result of this dispute between the two continents, brandy and cognac are applied with 35% of so-called tariff. So it's a global system in which we are plugged in, the wine community professionals, and we are always taken hostage about disputes. In the case of the what's happening at the moment, it's highly stressful for the whole community. You were talking about champagne or people in Europe. For some of them, the market is only 20-25% of their total revenue, but it's up to 40% of their gross margin.
See, I mean, that puts people out of business. I mean, right in both
camps. This is why it's crazy. in both camps. So if you are losing 40% of your gross margin, and you know that, as we say in this wine and spirit community, if you want to become a millionaire, you have to start to be a billionaire. So that means that the wine business, it's not probably the highest profitable business in the world. So losing 40% of your gross margin means it's really impactful on your P&L at the end of the day. But consider also the view from the importer. So not only will you, Jason, buy a bottle that can suddenly be multiplied with an application a coefficient of 200%? It's unsellable. You cannot sell this bottle.
If you're already somebody who's buying a $200 bottle of champagne or a $300 or $400 bottle of champagne, that person might be like, fine, whatever, I'll buy it for $1,200, just only twice a year instead of 5 times a year. But it's the little guys, the sparkling wine from Bourgogne, a Cremant, any of that stuff. That person who drinks
out of business,
Cremant Alsace, they're gone. They're gone.
Out of business. And the thing is, the issue that will impact the US in the end is, first of all, it's always somebody has to pay for that. So usually it's the end consumer, and that's the problem. But regardless of that, France, Italy, Spain, you have the top 3 in terms of wine production worldwide. They account for 40-45% of the total worldwide production. You have Austria, Germany, which are following in the end. So the US market, the US wine producer, they cannot supplement, they cannot replace European wine. And especially, let's be honest, American wine are not so cheap in terms of costing.
This has been my big observation whenever we talk on this podcast about these tariffs and really just about this kind of attitude of globalism that is happening right now. It seems to happen about every 70 years. Everybody goes, all right, we need to isolate again. And it's like, you didn't learn your lesson from the past. But it is that American wine is not inexpensive. It is very expensive.
It is.
For what it is, American wine cannot compete, especially if you think about things like rosé or, simple whites to drink every day and simple reds. You can't compete with the Languedoc in France. It's never going to happen. They just make more of it, and the land doesn't cost what it costs. And we tax the hell out of our wine too here. It's just it's a tumultuous process that I feel very helpless. Like you said, I don't know what to do about it.
But I think importers they will face some sourcing problems in terms of affordable wine compared to what the market wants. Then retailer, but think about the bars, the restaurant. I mean, where are they going to find wines which are, I won't say cheap, but in their price range?
Cheap. We mean inexpensive. We mean affordable. I mean, cheap comes with a bad connotation that really doesn't. But that's not what we mean. Yeah.
But I think it's going to be some people won't be able to sell wine anymore because they need to find sourcing product according to the price range they want to offer the wine to their clients. So I think it's really a cascade issues that we are all in the same boat. Whether you are in France, in Italy, in Spain, in Germany, but also even if you are the smallest retailer in Pennsylvania, for instance, we are all in the same business, and this is why a gathering of wine business professional all together during 2 days, it has some benefit impact. First of all, it's an opportunity to network and learn, as we mentioned, but it's also an opportunity to, let's cheer up a little bit. Let's gather. Let's see that we are all on the same camp, not one against each other. And I think this is, from a foreigner standpoint, in this, I think I don't want to see it like that. I don't want to see the good guys on one side and the bad guys on the other. I think we are all taken hostages. But unfortunately, as I read on a Politico in the US, Donald Trump shot the hostages. That was the headline, which I found really compelling at the moment. But
it's not funny, but
no. But I was in Asia last week, in Southeast Asia, and Southeast Asia, it's a bit different. The market is boiling, and there is a lot of growth in this area, 7-8% GDP, and but still, the concern about wine is the same. So China seems to be slowly rebounding, business is being business. What's the problem? Are the Europeans going to shut down US business for the next 3-4 years and turn their back to America to go, I don't know, to Asia, Southeast Asia, India? But at some point, somebody will have to look for new market opportunities elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, is Asia really, that is the market that everyone would have to turn to, right? I mean, it's not like you can turn to Australia and make up 10% of your sales because you're already there.
Where I see a lot of opportunities for the next couple of years, I would say next 10 years actually, it's Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia is amazing. Countries like Thailand have understood everything. They shut their tariffs to zero. Access rate is now down to 5%. So they looked what happened in Hong Kong 20 years ago, and they are replicating it with a high-speed growth population, GDP, young, etc. So checking all the boxes. Okay, you can say, okay, but Asia is not so big yet. Yeah, but consider the weight of the population. US is just below 500 million inhabitants, more or less, and Asia is just below. Southeast Asia only. Southeast Asia is 1.5 billion. So you can see the market, which is here. It's around the corner. Okay, it's not everybody's drinking wine yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to train the consumers to drink wine rather than something else they're drinking now, beer or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they are very beer focused at the moment, for sure.
Yeah.
Beer and spirit. But 1.5 billion inhabitants that have the expectation and they drink more and more wine. The volume of wine that is important, just as an example, the volume of wine that is imported in Thailand today is more or less in value equivalent to the wine in China.
Wow.
So it's huge.
That surprises me.
1.3 billion USD against 1.6. So, I mean, this is big. Okay, China is at its lowest. So, coming back to America and US in general, it means that the danger is there. That quickly, we don't want, it will not happen, but worst of the worst is if the situation continue to deteriorate a little bit, we do not want that USA market comes after the rest of the promising markets. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It won't happen. I'm sure it won't happen. But if there is sort of a prohibitive tariff for the next 2 to 3 years, then it's going to be an issue because everyone in this business will look for market opportunities elsewhere. And it will damage very much the wine producers that are not prepared for that in Europe. That's a given. But it will also hurt very much the value chain in the US distributing wine because sourcing will start to lack.
Well, I just wonder if this does happen, hypothetically, these tariffs go into effect and it undoes the web of importers, exporters even. There are a lot of wine shops and restaurants that are based purely on European wine or wine from South America or wine. I mean, I've been to them, I go to them, and they're themed because their food is themed that. It's a French restaurant or it's an Italian restaurant. Do you think it can be rebuilt after 3 or 4 years? Or is this kind of like setting a coffin on fire rather than the last nail in a coffin?
I mean, we are business people. We are very pragmatic. So never say never. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's not because the market has been closed for 3 years that it won't be rebuilt, but it will take time. This is the issue. It will take time. We've seen it for the first Trump mandate. There was this conflict between Airbus and Boeing, which happened to target some European wines. And if you take the example of France and Spain that were in the target, the tariff were 20%. 20% of additional tariff compared to the rest means you lose 20% of market share. It's as simple as that. So French wine lost 20% of market share. And it took a while to cope with the 20% loss. So it will take time. It will take time to reconstruct the relationship, to reconstruct not only the sourcing, but also the distribution, also the time to market to reach the end user will take time. Mm-hmm. And I think this is what's troubling and what's the problem at the moment.
Yeah, I want to tell the listeners listening to this, I don't want to cover this, by the way. So everybody here, it's like we've talked about this several times with various perspectives and various people. And I got to say, Rod, you are one of the most important people in the wine business to talk to because you touch all parts of it. You're not, you are not an importer. You're not just this. You're not just a winemaker. And nothing against those positions, but they will see it straight from their point of view. Whereas you kind of can see it almost like you're in a parachute above the land, coming down.
I hope that the landing will be soft and not too harsh.
I hope so too. Hopefully you didn't have any wine before you jumped out of the plane. But and this all does circle back to Vinexpo America in that, it is a time to sort of, I would say, regather thoughts or huddle together and taste some great stuff. You mentioned Moldovan wines. I've never had a wine from Moldova.
Amazing.
I have from Romania. I have from, Ukraine. I've had wine from all sorts of places in that particular part of the world, but I have never had Moldovan wine, which I imagine would be great.
But I think this is the greatness of our business in general. You have a Cabernet Sauvignon everywhere, more or less Merlot, Petit Verdot. You have all that kind of international grapes, or we call them Bordeaux grapes, but they are everywhere. But from one country to another, from one winemaker to another, they are not the same. And it's a piece of history, it's a piece of experience, it's a piece of connection with people. We are just business people that want to deal together in a peaceful and in a fair approach, and just show the best of our product everywhere. And this is the great richness of our industry. We are passionate people that just want to do great product for great consumers that are interested, like you, like me, to try new things. And whenever I'm coming to a show that we organize, I'm like a child in a toy shop before Christmas. So many wines. I'm rushing in every different areas, and same. It's an opportunity for me, but also for our visitors to try wines from different parts of the world that they are not able to try in one day. So it's basically a journey throughout different vineyards of the world under one roof, which is so convenient. And this is what that's why I love to organize Vinexpo shows because we are here, passionate people, just willing to develop our connection, develop our business, but in a fair approach, and learn. If we can learn one or two tricks in parallel, and if we can make one or two good friends during a trade show, I would say that's mission accomplished.
This is great. I want to remind everybody, I'll put the link so that anyone listening to this can register for this event. If you are in the business, in trade, in any facet, you can go to this for free. This is an event
you won't regret
it. Yeah.
You won't regret it.
May 7th through 8th. So it's kind of a no-brainer if you're anywhere near Miami or can get there through 7th through 8th. I want to thank you so much. I'm hoping the next time you're on this podcast, we are not talking about any inflationary tariffs or anything like that. Hopefully we're just drinking a bottle of wine and talking about wine and history.
We will, my friend. Don't worry. Okay. We will. In the end of the day, we will still continue to drink wine. Never forget, a crisis has a beginning, it has a middle, but more than ever, it has an end. And at the end of the day, we will still be here drinking good wine with good friends.
Well said. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Remember, if you enjoyed this podcast, please give us a great rating wherever you listen to the pod. And if you are in the beverage, food industry at all, and you're going to be anywhere near Miami Beach, May 7th through 8th, or even if you're not, go there, you get a free badge because you're a listener to this podcast. Type in Vamerica25 at vinexpo-america.com. I'm going to put that link in the show notes. All right, everybody, be safe. We've got some great episodes coming in the upcoming weeks, and we have some updates on our next films that are coming, as well as a brand new season of blind tasting sessions coming only to Som TV. So we look forward to talking to you about that. Everybody, please be safe and drink something great. We'll see you in Miami, May 7th through 8th.